My girlfriend told me she wasn't ready for serious commitment after years together. I accepted her truth, let go without resentment, and focused forward. She contacted me months later when casual choices left her missing something steady and real. I just need to be honest with you. I'm not ready for this level of commitment. The words hung in the air between us like smoke, slowly filling the small living room of my apartment. I looked at her sitting across from me on the couch, the woman I'd spent the last 3.5 years building a life with, and felt something inside me go very still. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. I'm 31. She's 29. We'd been together since we met at a mutual friend's birthday party, and for most of that time, I genuinely believed we were headed somewhere permanent. What does that mean exactly? I asked quietly. She tucked a strand of her dark hair behind her ear, a nervous habit I'd seen 1,000 times. It means I've been thinking a lot lately. About us, about where this is going. And I realized I'm not ready to be someone's forever person. Not yet. I sat back against the cushions, processing. Is there someone else? No, she said quickly. God, no. This isn't about anyone else. It's about me. I feel like I'm missing out on something. Like there's a whole part of life I haven't experienced yet. We've been together for 3.5 years, I said, keeping my voice even. Why is this coming up now? She looked down at her hands, twisting the bracelet I'd given her last Christmas. Because you've been talking about our future more. About moving in together officially. About timelines. And every time you do, I feel this panic in my chest. I'd noticed her pulling back over the past few months, but I'd attributed it to stress from her new job. Apparently, I'd been wrong. So what are you saying? I asked. You want to break up? I think we need to take a step back, she said carefully. I need space to figure out what I really want. And I don't think it's fair to keep you waiting while I do that. The reasonable part of me understood what she was saying. The part that had been planning a future with her felt like I'd been punched in the chest. Take all the time you need, I said finally. But I need you to be clear about what this is. Are we breaking up, or are we on a break? She met my eyes, and I saw the answer there before she spoke. I think we should break up. Cleanly. It's not fair to leave you in limbo. I nodded slowly. Okay, she repeated, sounding almost surprised. What do you want me to say? I asked. I'm not going to beg you to stay if this isn't what you want. I'm not going to try to convince you to feel something you don't feel. Her eyes glistened. I do have feelings for you. I love you. That's not what this is about. I know, I said. But love isn't always enough, is it? If you're not ready for commitment, if you feel like you're missing out, then this is the right call. For both of us. She wiped at her eyes. I didn't expect you to be so calm about this. What did you expect? A fight? I don't know. Maybe. Most guys would be angry. I shrugged. I'm not angry. I'm sad, yeah. Disappointed. But angry? No. You're being honest with me. That takes courage, and I respect that more than I'd respect you staying in something that makes you feel trapped. We sat in silence for a moment. I should probably go, she said quietly. Do you have everything here, or do you need to come back for stuff? She looked around the apartment. I have some things. Clothes, books. I can get them another time if that's easier. No, take them now, I said, standing up. Clean break, remember? She stood too, and for a second, I thought she might cry. But she didn't. We spent the next 30 minutes gathering her belongings in silence. I found one of her sweaters in my closet, her favorite coffee mug in the kitchen cabinet, a book she'd been reading on my nightstand. Each item felt like a small goodbye. When she had everything packed into 2 bags, she paused at the door. I really am sorry, she said. I know. Take care of yourself, okay? You too. And then she was gone. I stood in the suddenly empty apartment, surrounded by the small gaps where her things used to be, and let myself feel it for exactly one night. I ordered takeout, drank 2 beers, and let the disappointment wash over me. By morning, I made a decision. I wasn't going to wallow. I wasn't going to spend months analyzing what I could have done differently. She'd been clear about what she needed, and it wasn't me, at least not right now. So I was going to accept it and move forward. The first few weeks were harder than I expected. Not because I was devastated, but because 3.5 years of habits don't just disappear overnight. I'd reach for my phone to text her about something funny I saw, then remember. I'd make dinner for 2 out of muscle memory, then have to eat leftovers for days. Small things would remind me of her, like hearing a song she liked or passing the coffee shop we used to go to on Sunday mornings. But I didn't reach out. I didn't check her social media. I didn't ask our mutual friends about her. Instead, I focused on myself. I started going to the gym more consistently, something I'd been saying I'd do for months. I picked up a woodworking class I'd been interested in, spending Saturday mornings learning to build furniture. I reconnected with friends I'd somewhat neglected during the relationship, going to their game nights and weekend hiking trips. My buddy Connor noticed the change about a month after the breakup. "You seem different," he said one night while we were playing pool at a bar downtown. "Different how?" "I don't know. Lighter maybe? More present." I lined up my shot, considering. I think I was so focused on building a future with her that I forgot to actually enjoy the present. "Now I'm just trying to be here, in my actual life." Connor nodded. "That's healthy, man. I've seen guys fall apart after breakups like yours. You're handling it well." "She did me a favor, really," I said, and I meant it. If she'd stayed out of obligation or fear, we'd have ended up resenting each other eventually. This way, we both get to find what we're actually looking for. "You really don't hate her?" "Not even a little bit." And I didn't. I understood her. She was 29 and had been in a serious relationship through most of her 20s. She wanted to explore, to see what else was out there, to not wonder what if. That was fair. It hurt, but it was fair. By the 2-month mark, I actually felt good. I'd lost 15 pounds from the consistent gym routine. I'd built a bookshelf in my woodworking class that looked almost professional. I'd even gone on a few casual dates, nothing serious, just coffee or drinks with interesting people. One of them, a woman named Melissa I'd met through a friend's dinner party, became a regular presence in my life. We weren't dating, exactly, but we'd get together every couple of weeks for movies or trying new restaurants. It was easy and uncomplicated. She knew about my recent breakup and wasn't looking for anything serious either. "I think you're doing this whole healing thing wrong," she joked one night over Thai food. "How so?" "You're supposed to be a mess. Eating ice cream, listening to sad music, drunk texting your ex." I laughed. "That sounds terrible." "It is. But it's also normal. Maybe I'm just not normal." She studied me for a moment. "I think you're someone who processes things by moving forward instead of looking back." "That's rare." "Is that a compliment?" "Definitely. Most people, myself included, wallow. You redirect." I'd never thought about it that way, but she was right. When my dad died 5 years ago, I'd handled it the same way. Let myself grieve for a set period, then channeled that energy into living the kind of life he'd want me to live. Maybe it was avoidance. Or maybe it was just how I was wired. 3 months after the breakup, I got a text from an unknown number. When I opened it, I realized it was her. She must have gotten a new phone, or maybe I'd just deleted her contact. The message was simple. "Hey, how are you?" I stared at it for a long moment. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but that felt petty, and I'd promised myself I wouldn't be petty. So I replied, "Doing well. You." The 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Can we talk? Maybe grab coffee." I set my phone down and thought about it. Did I want to see her? Not particularly. Not because I was angry, but because I genuinely moved on. Seeing her felt like it might pull me backward. But I also didn't want to be cruel. "Sure. When works for you." We made plans to meet that Saturday at a neutral coffee shop, not one of our old regular spots. I told Melissa about it when we met up 2 days later. "Your ex wants to meet?" she said, eyebrows raised. "That's interesting." "Is it?" "Usually means one of 3 things. She wants closure, she wants you back, or she's got news." News. Pregnant, engaged, moving away. Something big. I hadn't considered that. "Well, I guess I'll find out Saturday." "You nervous?" "Not really. Just curious." And I was. Saturday came, and I arrived at the coffee shop 5 minutes early. She walked in right on time, and I was struck by how different she looked. Her hair was shorter, cut into a sharp bob. She'd lost weight, though not in a healthy way. She looked tired. "Hi," she said, sliding into the seat across from me. "Hi." We ordered coffee, made small talk about the weather and the traffic, dancing around whatever she actually wanted to say. Finally, after her second sip, she set down her cup. "I've been thinking about us a lot." "Okay. And I think I made a mistake." There it was. I took a slow breath. "What kind of mistake?" "Breaking up with you. Letting you go. I thought I needed freedom and space and new experiences, but..." She trailed off. "But what?" "But it's not what I thought it would be. Dating is exhausting. Everyone's playing games or just looking for hookups. I went on probably 20 first dates in the last 3 months, and not one of them felt like what we had." I listened without interrupting. "I miss you," she continued. "I miss us. The way we could just exist together. The way you made me laugh. The way I felt safe with you." "I appreciate you telling me that," I said carefully. She looked at me with hope in her eyes. So, do you think we could try again? No. The word came out more firmly than I intended, but it was the truth. Her face fell. No? Just like that. Just like that? I confirmed. Look, I understand what you're saying, and I believe you mean it. But the reasons you broke up with me haven't changed. They have, though. I've learned what I needed to learn. Have you? Or did you just not find what you were looking for out there? She flinched. That's not fair, isn't it? 3 months ago, you told me you felt like you were missing out on life, that you needed to explore. Now you're back because exploration turned out to be harder than you thought. I made a mistake, she said again. People make mistakes. That doesn't mean we can't fix this. I shook my head. It's not about fixing anything. It's about accepting that we wanted different things. You wanted freedom. I wanted commitment. Those things are fundamentally incompatible. But I want commitment now. Do you? Or do you want the comfort of what we had because being single is hard? Her eyes filled with tears. You're being cruel. I'm being honest, I said gently. The same way you were honest with me 3 months ago. You did the right thing breaking up with me. You needed to see what else was out there. And now you have. And I chose you, she said desperately. You chose familiarity. There's a difference. We sat in heavy silence. I don't understand, she finally said. You weren't angry when I broke up with you. You were so understanding. And now you won't even consider giving us another chance. Those two things aren't contradictory, I explained. I understood why you needed to leave. I respected it. That doesn't mean I'm obligated to take you back when you decide you're done exploring. I love you. I loved you too. Past tense. She stared at me. You don't love me anymore? I don't think I do, no? Not the way I did. I've moved on. In 3 months. In 3 months. She wiped at her eyes angrily. So that's it. You've just completely moved on. Found someone new. I'm not in another relationship, if that's what you're asking. But I've built a life that I'm happy with. I've invested in friendships, hobbies myself. I'm not the same person I was when we were together. Neither am I. I believe that. But that doesn't mean we're meant to be together now. She looked down at her coffee, deflating. I really thought you'd give me another chance. Why? Because you're kind. Because you don't hold grudges. Because we were good together. We were good together, I agreed. But we also wanted different things. And fundamentally, that hasn't changed. You came back because dating is hard, not because you woke up one day and suddenly wanted the same future I wanted. You don't know that, don't I? If I said yes right now, if I said let's try again, would you be ready to move in together? To talk about marriage? To build the life I was talking about 3 months ago? She hesitated, and that hesitation told me everything. That's what I thought, I said quietly. I just need more time. And that's okay. But I don't. I know what I want now, and it's someone who's sure about me. Someone who doesn't need to test the waters before they can commit. Someone who chooses me first, not as a backup plan. That's not what this is. Then what is it? She opened her mouth, closed it again. I miss what we had, she finally said. I know. I miss it too sometimes. But missing something doesn't mean we should go back to it. We finished our coffee in painful silence. When we stood to leave, she touched my arm. I really am sorry. For all of it. I know. And I really do wish you the best. I hope you find what you're looking for. What if what I'm looking for is you? I looked at her, this woman I'd spent 3.5 years loving, and felt a surprising sense of peace. Then you should have held on to me when you had me. I walked out of the coffee shop and didn't look back. The next day, Melissa called me. So, how did it go? I told her everything. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. That must have been hard. It was easier than I thought it would be, honestly. No part of you wanted to say yes. Maybe a small part. The part that remembers how comfortable we were together. But comfort isn't enough to build a life on. You're very wise for someone who just got dumped 3 months ago. I laughed. I don't know about wise. I just know what I deserve. And what's that? Someone who's sure. Someone who doesn't need to shop around to appreciate what they have. Someone who wants the same things I want without needing to be convinced. Good answer. Over the next few weeks, my ex tried a few more times. A text here, an Instagram message there. Each one, I responded politely but firmly. No, I didn't want to meet up again. No, I didn't think we should try to be friends right now. No, I wasn't interested in getting back together. Eventually, the messages stopped. Through mutual friends, I heard she'd started dating someone new, someone from her gym. I felt nothing about it, which I took as a good sign. 4 months after our coffee shop meeting, nearly 7 months after the initial breakup, I met someone. Her name was Victoria, and she was a paralegal at a firm that contracted with my company. We'd crossed paths a few times professionally, always friendly, but nothing more. Then one day, we ended up at the same happy hour event and talked for 3 hours straight. She was smart, funny, and refreshingly direct about what she wanted. I should tell you up front, she said on our second date. I'm not interested in casual dating. I'm 32, and if I'm going to invest time in getting to know someone, I want it to have the potential to go somewhere. That's exactly what I want to hear, I said honestly. Yeah. I wasted too much time with someone who wasn't sure what they wanted. I'd rather know from the start if we're on the same page. She smiled. Then we're on the same page. We took things slowly, but with intention. There was no ambiguity, no games, no wondering where we stood. By our third date, we'd established that we were exclusively seeing each other. By the second month, we'd both said we were falling in love. By the fourth month, we were having serious conversations about our future. It felt completely different from my last relationship. Not better or worse in terms of feelings, but different in terms of alignment. We wanted the same things at the same time. Neither of us had to convince the other or wait for them to be ready. We were just ready together. I was at Victoria's apartment one Saturday morning, making breakfast while she worked on some case files, when my phone buzzed. It was another message from my ex. I hadn't heard from her in months, and I'd honestly stopped thinking about her entirely. The message said, I saw on Instagram that you're with someone new. I hope you're happy. I really mean that. I showed Victoria the message. Your ex? She asked. Yeah. Are you going to respond? Should I? She shrugged. That's up to you. I'm secure enough in what we have that I'm not threatened by you being polite to an ex. I appreciated that about her. The confidence, the lack of insecurity. I typed back a simple response. I am happy. I hope you are too. She replied immediately. I'm getting there. He's a good guy. Different from you, but good. That's great. Genuinely. Can I ask you something? I hesitated, then typed. Sure. Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't needed that time to figure things out? If I'd just been ready when you were ready? I thought about it honestly before responding. Sometimes. But I think everything happened the way it needed to. We both ended up where we're supposed to be. You really believe that? I do. You're with someone who's sure about you, aren't you? I am. That's what I wanted to be. I just needed to get there on my own timeline. But by the time I did, you'd already moved on. I'm sorry. Don't be. You did exactly what you should have done. You respected yourself enough to not wait around. I respect that. Thank you. Take care of yourself. And her, whoever she is. She's lucky. You too. And he is too. That was the last time we communicated. No drama. No anger. Just two people acknowledging that they'd been right for each other once, but not anymore. Victoria looked up from her files. Everything okay? Yeah. Just closing a chapter. Feels good. Feels right. She came over and kissed the top of my head. Good. Because I'm thinking about opening a new chapter. One where we get a dog together. I turned to look at her. A dog? Too soon. Not if we're both ready. She grinned. I'm ready. Are you ready? I'm ready. And I was. 6 months later, Victoria moved into my apartment with our rescue dog, a mutt named Charlie who had more energy than both of us combined. A year after that, I proposed. Not because I felt pressured or because I thought it was time, but because I genuinely couldn't imagine my life without her. Because she was sure about me, and I was sure about her, and that certainty made everything else easy. The wedding was small, just close friends and family. Connor was my best man, and during his toast, he said something that stuck with me. I've known this guy for 15 years, and I've never seen him as happy as he is with Victoria. Not because she's better than anyone who came before, but because they're better together. They want the same things. They choose each other every day, and that's what makes it work. Later that night, as Victoria and I danced to our first song as a married couple, she whispered in my ear, I'm really glad you didn't take your ex back. I laughed. Me too. Not just for selfish reasons, though obviously I am being selfish, but because you deserved someone who was sure. And she wasn't. She was young. She needed to figure herself out. And you let her. Without resentment. Without bitterness. That's rare. It would have been pointless to be bitter. She did what she needed to do. And you did what you needed to do. You moved forward. Best decision I ever made. She pulled back to look at me. Really? Better than marrying me. Second best decision I ever made. She laughed and pulled me close again. We swayed together, surrounded by people we loved, in the life we'd built together. A life based on certainty, alignment, and mutual readiness. Not because we'd found each other at the perfect time, but because we were both in the right place to recognize what we had and commit to it fully. Sometimes I think about my ex and wonder if she ever found what she was looking for. I hope she did. I hope she found someone who met her where she was, who didn't need her to be ready before she was ready, who gave her the space and time she needed. Because that's what she deserved. Just like I deserved someone who was sure. 2 years into my marriage, I ran into her completely by accident. I was at a bookstore downtown, browsing the fiction section, when I heard someone say my name. I turned, and there she was. She looked different again. Healthier this time, happier. Her hair was back to its original length, and she had a fullness to her face that suggested contentment. "Hi," she said, smiling. "Hi. How are you?" "Good. Really good, actually. I'm engaged." "Congratulations. That's wonderful." "Thank you. What about you?" "Married. 2 years now." "I saw the pictures on social media. You looked happy." "I am." "Good. I'm glad." We stood there for a moment, two people who used to know everything about each other, now strangers making polite conversation. "I should ask," she said carefully. "Are you okay with running into me like this? I don't want to make things weird." "Not weird at all. I'm genuinely happy for you." "I'm happy for you too. And I'm sorry, again, for how things ended between us." "Don't be. It worked out the way it was supposed to." She nodded. "I think about what you said sometimes. About how I chose familiarity over you. You were right. I wasn't trying to hurt you. I know. You were being honest. It's what I needed to hear, even if it sucked at the time." "Did it help?" Hearing it, she considered. "Yeah. It helped me understand that I wasn't actually ready for what you wanted. I needed more time to grow, to figure myself out. And eventually, I did. Met someone who was patient with that process. Someone who didn't need me to be ready on any timeline but my own. That's exactly what you needed. And you needed someone who was already there. Someone who could meet you at your level." "Yeah." She smiled, and it was genuine. "I'm really glad we both found that." "Me too." We said goodbye, and this time, it felt complete. No lingering what-ifs, no unfinished business, just two people who'd once loved each other acknowledging that they'd both found their right person. Just not with each other. I went home that night and told Victoria about the encounter. She listened, then said, "How did it feel, seeing her?" "Peaceful. Like closing a book I'd already finished. No regrets. None. How could I have regrets when I have this?" I gestured around our apartment, at the life we'd built. The photos on the wall from our wedding and various trips. Charlie asleep on the couch. The half-finished puzzle on the dining room table that we'd been working on together. All the small, ordinary pieces of a shared life. "You're going to make me cry," Victoria said, but she was smiling. "Good tears. The best tears." She came over and wrapped her arms around me. "I love our life," she said. "I love it too. And I love that you don't have any baggage from your past. That you dealt with it and moved on so completely that running into your ex is just neutral." It wasn't always neutral. It took work to get here. But you did the work. You didn't just ignore it or pretend it didn't hurt. You processed it and moved forward. It was the only option. Staying stuck would have meant I might have missed you. She pulled back to look at me. "Did you just turn a conversation about your ex into a romantic moment about us?" "I did." "Is it working?" "Completely." We kissed, and I thought about how different this felt from my previous relationship. Not because the feelings were stronger or weaker, but because the foundation was solid. We were building something together, not hoping the other person would eventually want to build. We were on the same page, reading the same story, heading toward the same ending. That night, as we got ready for bed, Victoria said something that surprised me. "Thank you." "For what?" "For not settling. For knowing what you deserved and waiting for it. Because if you'd taken her back when she asked, we wouldn't be here." I couldn't have taken her back. Not once I understood the difference between being loved and being chosen. What's the difference? Being loved is easy. People can love you and still not be ready for you. But being chosen means they've decided that out of all their options, all their possibilities, you're the one they want to build with. That's what you did for me. You chose me. And you chose me. Every day. Every day, she echoed. 3 years after that bookstore encounter, Victoria and I had our first child. A daughter we named after my late mother. Holding her in the hospital, watching Victoria sleep after a difficult delivery, I felt overwhelmed with gratitude. Not just for the beautiful family I had, but for the journey that had led me here. If my ex hadn't broken up with me, I'd have never met Victoria. I'd have never built this life. I'd have settled for someone who loved me but wasn't ready for me, and eventually, that would have crumbled. Instead, I got someone who was ready when I was ready. Someone who wanted the same things at the same time. Someone who chose me deliberately and continues to choose me every day. That's the thing about letting go without resentment. It doesn't just free the other person. It frees you too. It opens up space for something better, something more aligned, something that fits without forcing. My ex did me a favor when she left. She was honest enough to admit she wasn't ready, brave enough to walk away, and clear enough to not string me along. And I did myself a favor when I accepted it. When I chose to respect her truth instead of fighting against it. When I moved forward instead of waiting around hoping she'd change her mind. Because in the end, you can't build a life with someone who isn't ready to build. You can't force commitment from someone who needs freedom. You can't make someone choose you. All you can do is choose yourself. Choose your own worth. Choose to move forward. And trust that the right person, the one who's ready when you're ready, the one who chooses you as deliberately as you choose them, is out there waiting to meet you. 5 years after the initial breakup, I can say with absolute certainty that everything happened exactly as it should have. My ex found someone who could be patient with her timeline. I found someone who was already on my timeline, and we're both happier for it. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone you love is let them go. And sometimes the best thing you can do for yourself is accept that letting go isn't giving up. It's making space for what's meant to be.